Great weather we're having. Awesome job. You're a tremendous athlete. Compliments, right? Well, maybe. Depending on the attitude and tone of voice behind these lines, they very well may be compliments. They may also be, though, pointed and attacking lines. This slight change of attitude behind the lines reveals what we call verbal irony. So when someone says, "Great weather we're having," it is quite possible that person really means that. If the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and the wind is calm. But if the weather is horrible, the clouds are looming, and the wind is a raging tempest, and someone says, "Great weather we're having," he probably doesn't actually mean that. He probably means that the weather is horrible, but he has said the opposite. This is verbal irony, when the speaker says the opposite of what he means. I know what you're thinking. Isn't this sarcasm? Isn't the speaker being sarcastic? Yes. When a speaker says the opposite of what he means, that is verbal irony. When the speaker then goes the step farther to mean the opposite of what he says and seeks to be a little pointed and mean, like he's making fun of something, then you have sarcasm. Take the second example. Awesome job. Someone accomplishing his lifelong dream? Awesome. Someone winning a sports championship? Awesome. Someone rear-ends another car? Not awesome. So when the passenger says, "Awesome job," they probably mean the opposite with a hint of poking fun. That is verbal irony, and that is sarcastic. You're a talented athlete. Said to an Olympian? Authentic. No verbal irony present. Said to the klutzy kid tripping into English class and spilling his books and pencil case all over the room? Now that's just harsh and verbally ironic, because what you said is not what you meant. That is verbal irony. You have said the opposite of what you mean. Additionally, since you have the intention of mocking this poor person, you have been not only verbally ironic, but sarcastic as well. Beware, though. While all sarcasm fits the definition of verbal irony, not all verbal irony is sarcastic. Verbal irony is where what is meant is the opposite of what is said, while sarcasm adds that little punch of attitude. There are times, though, where another layer of meaning can be present without that sarcastic tone. All right, now go out there and find those examples of verbal irony and sarcasm. Good luck. No, seriously, I mean it. Good luck. No, really, I truly want to wish you luck on this difficult task. Okay, sincerely, good luck. You can do it. No verbal irony here. Picture this. Your friend and you are watching a sitcom, and the sassy sidekick walks into a room carrying a 4-tiered wedding cake. He trips, falls, and face plants into the cake. Your friend doubles over with laughter and says, "So ridiculous! So ironic!" Well, quick, what do? Do you laugh along with the laugh track and let this grievous misinterpretation of irony go? Or do you throw caution to the wind and explain the true meaning of irony? If you're me, you choose the latter. Unfortunately, irony has been completely misunderstood. We tend to throw out that term whenever we see something funny or coincidental. And while many examples of true irony can be funny, that is not the driving factor of being ironic. A situation is only ironic if what happens is the exact opposite of what was expected. If you expect A, but get B, then you have irony. Let's take the slapstick cake situation as an example. When someone walks in, precariously balancing something that shouldn't be carried alone, trips, falls, and makes a mess, it is funny, but it's not ironic. In fact, you probably expect someone who is single-handedly carrying a huge cake to trip. When he does, reality aligns with expectations, and so that is not irony. But what if the sassy sidekick walked in wearing a gold medal that he'd won at the cakewalking event at the Atlanta Olympics in 1996? What if that sidekick was a professional cake carrier? Then, maybe there would have been a reasonable expectation that he would have been more skilled when carrying a ridiculously large cake. Then, when that reasonable expectation was not met by the tripping sidekick, irony would have been exemplified. Another example. A senior citizen texting and blogging. The common and reasonable expectation of more mature men and women is that they don't like or know technology, that they have a hard time turning on a computer, or that they have the old brick cell phones from the 1980s. One should not expect them to be connected, high-tech, or savvy enough to text or to be blogging, which must seem like some sort of newfangled thing that back in my day they never had. So when Granny pulls out her smartphone to post pictures of her dentures or her grandkids, irony ensues. Reasonable expectations of the situation are not met. That is irony. So while the cake dropper might not be ironic, there are all kinds of situations in life that are. Go out and find those true examples of irony. What do horror movies and comedies have in common? The two genres might seem totally different, but the reason they're both so popular is perhaps because of what they have in common, their use of dramatic irony. First, let's clarify. There are three types of irony out there. Situational irony is when you expect one thing but get the opposite. Verbal irony is when someone says something but truly means the opposite. Dramatic irony, though, is what we'll be looking at right now. Dramatic irony is when the audience seems to know more about an event, a situation, or a conversation than the characters in the movie, on the show, or in the book do. The audience is in on a secret that the characters have missed. This is a great storytelling device that creates tremendous emotion within that text. Think about it for a moment. How does it feel when, in a horror film, you know that the scary villain is hiding behind that door in the darkened room? The music becomes eerie, the lighting creates complete shadows. This has to be bad for the hero. Of course, though, that hero must enter the room to find the villain. You feel tremendous tension and the suspense of knowing that someone will jump out and be scary, but you just don't know when. That tension is dramatic irony. You know something more than the characters in the film. Now, take the typical comedy. There will probably be some type of misunderstanding. Again, we know more of what is going on than the characters do. Picture two characters making a plan for a birthday surprise for their roommate, while that roommate overhears the entire conversation from the hallway. From there, confusion and misunderstanding occur, and the tension builds. This isn't the same tension as the horror film, since it is probably pretty funny as the characters try to figure out the who's and the what's. But it serves as a great example of the tension and suspense of dramatic irony. This tension or suspense in both genres drives the story and keeps the plot progressing. The audience needs to see the tension of the dramatic irony broken either by the scary person jumping out of the shadows or by someone finally revealing someone's true identity and clearing up the confusion. So when you feel like you are in on a secret, that is dramatic irony, a hallmark of all the great writers from Shakespeare to Hitchcock.